News that we saw this week after a career year in Minnesota. Darnold officially signing a 3-year, $100.5 million deal with the Seahawks as Seattle's replacement for Geno Smith, who's now in Vegas with the Raiders. Here's Darnold on his new team, including a reunion with offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak.
There's variations of the same system that kind of go around the NFL. And being in one of those last year and kind of getting to morph a little bit of that with obviously most of the stuff that we did in San Francisco, and then I know he grew on his system a little bit last year in New Orleans. So again, just very, I know I keep using this word, but very excited to just get rolling on kind of what this system, what the offense is going to look like next year.
Got the flannel on, ready for the grunge scene in Seattle. So the Seahawks are officially in the Sam Darnold era. But before this, they were talking to Geno Smith about potentially those Seahawks about a new contract, and then things fell apart. Why didn't it work with Geno Smith in Seattle?
Well, I think Seattle fundamentally misunderstood the quarterback position and the quarterback market. The belief is clearly that Geno Smith is a quarterback that in order to win a championship, he needs to be surrounded, good offensive line, good receivers, needs to be supported, and that Sam Darnold's the same guy. Got to support him, get the good players around him. So why not save $10 million? Why not get the third-round pick and move on to Darnold? The issue with that paradigm is that every quarterback needs a good offensive line to win a championship. Every quarterback needs good receivers. Ask Patrick Mahomes against the Eagles what it was like to play behind that offensive line. In Geno Smith, you had a player who, despite firing your last two offensive coordinators, despite having one of the worst pass-protecting offensive lines in football, showed you he could be that caliber of player. In Sam Darnold, we just a minute ago saw this in the best environment in Minnesota with an unbelievable line, with great receivers, with Kevin O'Connell. The chance that he's not that guy, that he actually crumbles back to old Sam Darnold levels, is very high. It's so much risk relative to the reward of $10 million per year and a third-round pick. I think it's an egregious team-building error in Seattle.
Hey, Ben, we just got some breaking news. Now, you talk about who Sam Darnold's going to throw the football to. The news just coming in. Cooper Kupp is now going to Seattle. So he's going to stay on the West Coast here, the 31-year-old. What do you think of this fit, him going to Seattle and joining this offense?
The best slot receiver season in the NFL last year was Jackson Smith-Njigba, and his year producing out of the slot was the most productive in the last 3 years since 2021 Cooper Kupp. We have two unbelievable slot receivers and nobody to play the outside. So I understand the attraction of Cooper Kupp. He can take a lot of volume. You can throw him a lot of passes, right? And they need that. They have so many passes to go around now with Metcalf out of the building, with Lockett out of the building. But I don't understand structurally who's going to stand where in this offense. Remember, Clint Kubiak with the Saints was a 12 personnel coach, 2 tight ends. They don't have 2 tight ends. I get it because he's one of the best players available, but I don't understand how this is going to look on the field come September.
Again, we've heard this thing from Peter Rosenberg, and he nailed it. The best thing for the Seahawks this week is Mina Kimes won Celebrity Jeopardy. Because what are the Seahawks doing? If only they had DK Metcalf.
Breaking news into SportsCenter. Adam Schefter reporting that receiver Cooper Kupp has a new home, signing with the Seahawks, staying in the NFC West. Was released by the Rams after 8 seasons when they couldn't find a trade. Kupp had a Triple Crown receiving season back in 2021. He has, of course, been limited by injury since, part of the reason that they had the split in L.A. But in Cooper Kupp, Seattle gets one of the most effective slot receivers in the league. We just heard Ben Solak react to the fact they already had one of the most effective slot receivers in the league. Over the last 4 seasons, no player has more touchdown catches when lined up in the slot than Kupp, and only CeeDee Lamb had more receiving yards, Kev.
All right, injury against Georgia Tech yesterday.
All right, let's go to the NFL, Kevo, where Pro Bowl defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence bolted Dallas after 11 seasons, signed a 3-year, $32.5 million deal with the Seahawks, and his decision-making process throws maybe just a little bit of shade on a Cowboys franchise that hasn't won in 30 years.
Dallas is my home. I made my home there. My family lives there. I'm forever going to be there. But, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So, yeah. We here.
Okay, needless to say, not everybody liked those comments. It started a little bit of a back and forth with former teammate Micah Parsons, so we're going to cosplay. I'll be Micah Parsons. This is what rejection and envy look like. This some clown-ish.
Now, Tank responded with a tweet. Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. Now, there's layers to all this, El. We all know that.
There's always layers to all this.
It's Micah responding on social media, but it feels like Tank was telling the truth in that locker room. some guys, they start talking when they leave. Are they talking in the locker room that they're not happy?
We love social media beef because it's not real. But you know who is real? Our senior NFL reporter, Jeremy Fowler, who's getting a little bit of a chuckle from our back and forth. We love the exchange there with D-Law and Parsons, but let's talk about, like, the brass tacks here. What is the latest on Parsons' contract talks with the Cowboys? He's caping hard for them.
Yeah, Elle, this is why I love to stay off social media if I could, but I have to follow all the NFL news and all these deals, and eventually that will include Micah Parsons and a mega contract. Look, when you talk to people with the Dallas Cowboys, they know that this looms large over the organization right now, that they need to do something. They have budgeted for and plan to do something for Micah Parsons. Not quite yet, though. There's not a lot of momentum at the moment that a deal is going to happen right now, and that's in part because Dallas loves to take their time. We see it with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott in the past. They'll wait till August or September to get a deal done. They'll let it hang over so we can keep talking about it on shows. But most people I talk to around the league do believe that Dallas will get this done because they have a penchant for paying star players. So the expectation is that he will have a very big contract in the next 4 to 5 months, maybe something with a 4 in front of the first number.
Okay, maybe flying under the radar because of all this back and forth is that the boys did reunite with free agent pass rusher Dante Fowler Jr. today. He had 10.5 sacks last year in D.C. Another player that's looking to get paid, looking for a team, possibly the Cowboys, is Cooper Kupp. What's the latest on his negotiations with teams?
So I'm told that Cooper Kupp is still weighing his options. No firm determination yet, but teams are expecting a decision soon. I'm told to watch out for the Seattle Seahawks. They remain firmly in the mix here. They've been in contact with Kupp. They've sort of sold a vision on how they could sort of coexist in his next NFL chapter. So they're in it. The Denver Broncos have checked in on it, but it might be a little rich for their taste, a little steep financially. From what I hear from teams is that Cooper Kupp is hoping to keep sort of the same structure he had before as a highly paid receiver. He was due $20 million in cash with the Rams before they released him. So that could be a sticking point for several teams. New Orleans Saints also a team to watch out for here.
Maybe a sticking point for some teams, too, is that Kupp has not played a full season since he won the Triple Crown back in 2021. And with all due respect to Cooper Kupp, the receivers that are looking for huge paydays that we've been focusing on, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. What's the latest there with the Bengals?
Yeah, well, so reports came out today that the Bengals are getting close to mega deals for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Now, Bengals executive Duke Tobin has said that Chase will be, from them, the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. So that's going to take a deal around $40 million per year. That is the expectation, that they can get somewhere around that sweet spot to get a Chase deal to the finish line. T. Higgins, I'm hearing, will be lower than that, but somewhere in the high 20 millions per year. These will both be very significant investments from the Bengals, who also could turn their attention to Trey Hendrickson. I'm told that they have tried to kick up talks with Hendrickson's agent in the last few days. So their plan all along from the beginning of the offseason is to get deals done for all three of those superstars.
And just a reminder for the folks at home, the Bengals did tag Higgins for
Jones never really lived up to being the sixth player drafted in 2019. The Giants cut him last year. Now he's got a one-year deal with the Colts and a chance to show that he, not Anthony Richardson, who was drafted fourth in 2023, is the quarterback of the future. Today, Jones asked why it didn't work in the Big Apple.
There's a number of reasons, and you can certainly go back and look at those, pick those apart. I think, reflect on that, see where you could have done a better job, see where you could have, obviously played better and helped the team out, in more situations. So I'll always do that. I'll always look back at those things, but grateful for my time there, grateful for the experience, and excited for this opportunity.
All right, so here's the situation now. In joining Daniel Jones to the incumbent Anthony Richardson, the Colts now have two quarterbacks with the worst touchdown to INT ratio over the last two seasons among quarterbacks with at least 15 starts. Jones had thrown 10 touchdowns and 13 picks. Richardson just better with 11 touchdowns and 13 picks. It was the season of giving for them as it continues here with NFL analyst Ben Solak joining us now with much more. What can we expect? What can we expect from this quarterback competition? A lot of picks. Is that defense of the Colts going to thrive in practice? We just saw those numbers.
Yeah, I think it's sadness, right? I think that's what we expect from a Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson camp battle. The future with the Colts, like the good outcomes that help Chris Ballard keep his job and help Shane Steichen keep his job, are probably still with Anthony Richardson, right? Putting together a Bryce Young-esque recovery, second half of the season moving forward. But he's not going to look better than Daniel Jones in camp, because camp is all about accuracy and execution, and Jones is more accurate than Anthony Richardson was. Lowest completion percentage last year, lowest expected completion percentage this year. Richardson's the deep ball thrower, Daniel Jones is the dink and dunk player. That player tends to look better in camp, and so I expect Jones to outperform Richardson, and then I expect it to be a debate as to who plays, because Jones is going to get 4 games, he's not going to look that great. Richardson's got to go in, he's going to have 2 nice throws and a losing effort. It's going to be a mess. This is not a good quarterback competition to have if you're Indianapolis.
Jones, one of those guys, New York quarterback trying to rehab his career. It has worked out for some, like, for example, Sam Darnold, because that is the
Chào cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Để hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Và hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là áo phao. Mọi người, hôm nay tiêu đề mình có là gương sao. Bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu làm luôn. Mọi người màu xanh nhé, hai bên màu vàng. Từ chối 5 cái nữa, một từ chối là nhà bác xã nào, từ chối này nhà chị mẹ, từ chối này nhà ông cái 2 cái này, một cái là ông kia là 6 cái nữa. Họ nhậu thử làm định nhất, nhưng mà đừng nói cho anh, chúng ta gọi là chị em thứ nhất là bác đấy là chị võ của bác Thượng.